Good afternoon, board members, Mr. Santos, district staff present, and extended UID family joining us online. Time is now 12:01 p.m. on this fourth day of August 2020, and I call this meeting of the United Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. If I can have all the board members please say out their names.
Juan Roberto Ramírez.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Ricardo Molina Sr.
Ricardo Rodríguez.
Pascual.
Ya, el primero.
Okay. Okay.
Ramirez, Mr. Rick Rodriguez, President of the board member, Mr. Javier Montemayor, and myself, Ramiro Vélez. Let the record show that quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that the notice of the meeting has been posted according to the Texas Open Meeting. Agenda item 3, pledge of allegiance and pledge.
United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice.
Justice for all.
Allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, public comments. No public comments submitted. Agenda item 5, items for individual consideration. We have public hearing schedule. Do we need a motion to open public hearing? Yes, sir.
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a. Wanted to see if we can deal with this grievance issue. You need to reset it so the parties can be. Okay. That's fine. You can move up the executive session. So, are you making a motion, Mr. Montana?
I second it. Yeah.
Alright, so a motion, a second. All those in favor to.
All right.
Aye.
Me to move up item number 6A. 6A. So a motion and a second, and everybody in favor. Opposed? None opposed. So moving on, item 6A. Should be agreements. Do we have any recognition at this point?
Do we an executive resolution?
No, we just announce the time and the authority, and then we can discuss on the.
Just moved up the agenda item to address closed session, but as noted, closed session item 6A2 specifically, the grievance appeared with representation, and the district didn't have notice of it. I did speak with the grievance council outside, and we've agreed to postpone it, so we can have some discussions, and so both parties be prepared to hear for the board to hear the grievance.
Understand. Would we need a motion to reschedule or?
No.
We'll just.
There'll just be no action
Correct.
in open because there was no grievance hearing held.
Understand. All right, so then we'll take care of item 6A. So we'll move back to agenda item 5. Item 8, public hearings. Do we have a motion to open up public hearings?
Yes, just for clarification, I'm sorry. That takes care of agenda item 6A2, as Ms. Garcia mentioned.
Yes.
We'll still convene at as appropriate for item 6A1 when the time comes.
Superintendent's duties are required.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
All right, we need a motion to open public hearing. Motion to open. We have a motion by Mr. Montemayor to open the public hearing at 12:06. Do we have a second?
You have a second, Ramiro.
All right, so Mr. Rodriguez, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor to open public hearing? Aye.
Aye.
All right, all those opposed? Public hearing, 12:06.
Good afternoon, members of the board, members of the audience, and members of the public who are online. We bring before you, or we are requesting information and input regarding the extending the start of the 2021 school year transition beyond the 4-week limit. Last week, the board approved the resolution to extend it to October, where we would actually begin face-to-face instruction for those individual students who requested face-to-face instruction October 19th. So we just want to hear from the public if there's any public opinion regarding this extension.
Can you tell us exactly where we're at with regards to the Laredo Health Authority and the full opinion and the DEA?
And the governors,
I can go back and give you a little recap. We had initially started our contact and our communication with our public and our administrators and you all as far as what the Texas Education Agency would allow us to have for the start of the 2021 school year. Since then, I believe it was last week or right prior to our board meeting, the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, submitted a notice, basically an opinion that the individuals, the local authority did not have really the authority to make a blanket statement to close all of our schools. And as a result, what the state has done is they retracted their initial guidance allowing that we could have that we did not have to offer face-to-face instruction for the first 8 weeks. They have since retracted that, and basically what they're saying, and that has always been in the guidelines from the state, that we would only have to provide instruction for students who did not have a device or internet connectivity for those particular 8 weeks of school. We will begin classes August 24th for our students. And the first 4 weeks, we are looking at providing instruction for our students and bringing in those individuals who do not have the device or the internet connectivity. And week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, which takes us all the way to October 16th, we will start a transition plan to bring in our students gradually. So any parent who would want their child to have that instruction face-to-face, we would bring in, for example, the 5th grade group. And then week 7, we would bring in maybe 4th and 3rd graders and so forth until we build up so that we can tweak our return to school protocols and our plans. So that is what we're looking at. We are looking at extending our 4-week time frame to an 8-week time frame so that we can offer face-to-face instructions for those who want to come in on October the 19th.
The resolution is something that we passed the last year.
It allowed us to extend it for 4 additional weeks. Initially, based on the commissioner, is they allowed us the first 4 weeks of school. But in order for any district to extend it, it'd have to be a board vote, and again, the resolution, and of course, the public hearing. And last week, the board approved us going the additional 4 weeks as far as the remote.
And now they want a waiver, sir. So the state is asking for the waiver with
Correct.
part of this as an agenda item.
That's the additional requirement now, the waiver.
Has the city health authority and was back in regards to that authority? Has that been resolved?
Yes, Ms. Rendon and I visited yesterday. I think in the morning, Ms. Rendon visited with I think it was the mayor and several other people. And in the afternoon, Ms. Rendon and I met with, of course, Dr. Trevino, Mr. Chamberlain, and of course, LISD and some of those school districts. And I think the health department, I think the city also understands based on the parameters that the opinion of the attorney general, and also a letter from the governor. So he's aware, and of course our response is we need to continue to look at the safety of the students and the employees. And we do have some restrictions. TA has made a lot of changes. Seems like once, twice a week they change on what it is that we were required to do. I think he's aware. The key here is we're hoping it doesn't happen, but if and when we open, we allow some students to come in. If there is a positive, when there's 2 positives at a campus or a department, then the health department could order us to close only that particular campus or department. And there's a restriction on number of days that we can close based on what TA is telling us.
I think that extending it beyond the 4-week limit is a good thing. I think this past week, the news reports that I've seen, it's been 5 consecutive days, maybe 6 consecutive days of 200 plus positive individuals. We have daily deaths going on. The world news and the U.S. news just doesn't paint any nicer picture of what's going to happen. I've had discussions with numerous people regarding the ability of students to be super spreaders of this infection, of the virus, that they're not, or they are. I just don't have any sufficient data to say that they are not, or that they won't carry it home, or that they won't spread it to a teacher or anything like that. I think we've done everything we can to assure that our faculty and staff and the students would be as safe as possible. But without any dip in the numbers, I think that it's very risky to continue with the picture that we have now. I think it's probably best that we start planning on.
Absolutely, and we have, one of the things that makes it difficult for us, as the board knows, and I think the public knows, is that it's not only funding. You know, when you look at the academic area, we close our schools without PA's approval. All our accreditation is out. And you've got high school students that graduate from high school is not accredited. They've got major issues, same thing with any of their students. But you're right, ours is always safety. You know, you look at a lot of our students in a lot of our community, you've got 3 generations living in the house. You've got the student, you've got the parent, and in a lot of cases, you've got the grandparents at that house.
Cultural.
So, I mean, it's, you know, safety is number one issue for everybody. But again, I think the state is, the TA is restricting us realistically what we can do. We don't agree, but at the same time, we've got to follow
Okay.
the guidance.
I saw the article about the Northside ISD superintendent who basically told them, we're going to watch for the safety of our teachers and staff and students, and we're going to not hold classes except for virtual classes. But if you don't want to fund us, we'll see you in court. Pretty much was his stance. So I think that's where it's going to come down to. It's across the state.
Sure.
Let the numbers go.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if there's anybody out in the public who would like to make a comment regarding the extending the 2021 school year transition beyond the 4-week limit to October 16.
We have a plan B. This administration has a plan B, hoping that nothing wrong happens. But you're showing and presenting to us on the plan of going back to school, which is indeed, it's understood that the district needs monetary gains so they can have more things to work with. But do we have a plan B in case something happens?
We have plans A through Z, actually, already. Yes, we have many plans. The manual that I shared with you last week has contingency plans regarding a COVID positive case, a COVID exposure case, isolation areas, temperature checks, symptoms. We run through the whole gamut with regards to student safety and employee safety as well. And so plan B is, if you know, need be, is we go virtual, sir. We provide virtual instruction for all of our students at a particular site when and if that situation arises. And we're ready. We are ready. We're having our distribution schedule for our Chromebooks and our devices. Technology department is working on the connectivity components of that. We have 40 buses, superpowered buses, what we call super buses. And those are being scheduled to go to different areas of our district so we can test the connectivity. We have gotten with the city and the county to look at Wi-Fi connectivity areas. And so we have schedules for those individual students who want to come in. We have 36 campuses already that have been wired for parking areas so that the students can actually go into that particular area and receive connectivity services.
I think it's important for the public to understand also that the 8-week transition period with the waiver is transition from, for the district to have more time to get the devices ready, for students to have more time and their families to have more time to get internet connectivity ready if they don't have one. However, on-campus instruction is really only limited to those without devices or internet connectivity. So it's not August 24th, school starting with people on campus, in general. After the 8-week transition period, the transition at that point, unless it's extended by the TEA, which the district has to abide with, it's still the parent's option, whether or not, based on their decision that they want to send their children for on-campus in-person instruction. So even after that 8-week period is over, doesn't mean that all students are returning to campus. There's distinction between the transition period for connectivity and the 8-week parent option at that point, whether or not to continue with remote learning or to begin with on-campus instruction.
Well, we continue to receive the results from our survey is still active. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. It's still very, the numbers increase, as the responders increase, the percentage is still 13-14% who would like that face-to-face instruction.
We've got, I think, as of yesterday afternoon, about 32,000 parents that have responded. And Ms. Mendoza is right, I think it's closer to 87-88% that want remote, about 13-14% face-to-face.
For these households
Yes, sir.
or these parents, you can have two.
You can have
Yes,
two,
you can have, yes.
But you're matching the responses by the number of students in the house. So it's by number.
It's safe to say that the majority of the public understands that we have a real
Okay.
grave issue.
Yes.
And they understand that remote instruction is probably going to be the best way to proceed for the start of the year.
The option,
And
parents' choice.
Right, so, super special, I'm still kind of fogging on that, but I'm sure.
Mr. Mike?
We are contacting the parents on special needs students, also just to make sure we know that we provide services.
I know that some of have been had conversations with teachers who are special ed teachers, and they're concerned about safety as well. They're going to be coming into contact.
Sure.
If I may, out of the 1,094 students in units, right now we have only 150 who are asking face-to-face. So the numbers are very limited.
In units.
Mr. Molina has a question.
Yes, sir. The TEA is mandating us to the first day of the 24th, if the parents decide to send their kids to school.
No, sir.
No, the only way, I think Ms. Mendoza shared it, the only way, on the 24th is, the only students that can be allowed for face-to-face are the students that their parents do not have either access to a mobile device or the connectivity. Then we've got to look at allowing those students to come in, but if they have access to the internet, they have access to a Chromebook or a laptop, then we don't have to offer it at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
We're offering, but I think it's safe to say that our recommendation would try to all the students.
Distance learning,
Distance learning.
yes, for safety of
Right.
everybody, yes.
How are we going to proceed as far as, are we going to be verifying, with the parents of students that, the parents that say, you know what, I want to take my kid to school, or is there going to be any verification? Are we going to
Well-
go back on track? Or
Well, what we're doing is we moved up the distribution of the Chromebooks. And that will allow us, number one, to find out if there is a need or not. And then at the same time, once they go, and I know Mr. Garza and staff, we're gonna be able to provide a map, the whole city with the connectivity, both the our schools and the cities, towers, I guess, and the counties, to find out if students were able to get access to it. Then they'll give us an idea who's coming and who's not gonna come.
Just want to state for the record, Elisa Oliveros, I'm in attendance.
Good afternoon, Mr. Oliveros. All right, so we have a motion, by Mr. Montemayor to close the public hearing. Do you have a second?
Second?
Motion a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 Sorry.
Motion passes. Time is 12:20. Public hearing is now closed. Agenda item 5B, approval waiver request for start of school transition extension, COVID-19 related.
This is a waiver that goes with the public hearing that we just had. It is to extend beyond the 4-week initial transition period all the way till October 16th.
A motion by Mr. Montemayor. Do we have a second?
Second?
Motion a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Item C, discussion and possible action regarding adoption of a resolution authorizing the board to waive the superintendent's evaluation for the 2019-2020 school year due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Second?
Motion a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed, motion passes. Item D, discussion, action to approve resolution in regards to TDA and Attorney General's guidance on local health authority ordered school closures.
Correct. So this, trustees, is a resolution basically urging the governor, urging the TEA to extend if possible, the transition period and to allow for more local control in conjunction with the local health authority to provide for possibly preventative closures. Right. That's what this is. It's really, excuse me?
Giving the local health authorities.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is just basically gathering, and we hope to do this with other area districts as well, by board resolution.
This will be for us to be able to push that, third week of October.
So maybe even further down,
Correct.
see if, at least to get an idea of what was going on, and then we'll come back to the board at that point in time.
Second.
Motion a second, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed? None opposed, motion passes. And 5E, approval of board minutes for July 1st, 2020. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any second, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Item F, approval to designate Elizabeth Garza to calculate the 2020 tax rate.
Good afternoon, Mr. Betty, board members, Mr. Montemayor, and members of the audience. We're bringing to you for consideration, we're recommending that Elizabeth Garza, the district's tax manager, be designated by the governing board to calculate the 2020 tax rate. This is per section 26.04 of the Texas Property Tax Code. And Ms. Garza is a registered tax assessor collector with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Item G, approval of amended order of election for Districts 1, Districts 2, District 4, and District 7.
Yes, we're bringing this item because of the governor's proclamation signed on July 27th. I don't know if you recall that we had brought the order of election for the 4 districts that are running. This is to make sure, and if you go to page 27, you'll see in red the additional days that's been added for early voting. Instead of starting October 19th, it'll start Tuesday, October 13th through Friday, October 16th. And then it adds the weekend of Saturday, October 17th and Sunday, October 18th. So what we'll do is we'll send you this amended order. We need all the signatures from the board members again, and we need the Spanish version also, and then we'll post it at our sites. They added, yeah, to make it a full 2 weeks. Yeah, they added, they'll start on the Tuesday.
Right.
I think they added like 7 days, yeah.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Montemayor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Further discussion? Favor, aye.
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 All those opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Item H, approve amended contract with the Webb County Election Administrator to conduct November 3rd, 2020 election.
Yes, we're also bringing this in relation to the same item of the governor's proclamation. We did have already approved a contract with Webb County's elections office, but we just wanted to make sure the board was aware of, if you can go down to page 34, I believe. This is where in our mobile site, our temporary mobile site, you'll see the additional days. There were some sites selected based on the districts that are running. So we feel the districts are well represented there, but you'll see where we added in yellow those additional days that the governor is allowing us to have early voting. So this is just an approval of amending the contract with Webb County.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
In a second, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Unopposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Item I, approval of operation connectivity interlocal acquisition agreement entered between Region 4 Education Services Center Region 4 United Independent School District, UID, pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 791.
Yes, Mr. Bailey, members of the board, basically what this is, TA in a very short window notified all districts in the state of Texas to be able to fill out a form and identify needs that we need in our district as far as technology. One of the needs that we put there is really the Wi-Fi. They have a very good rate, which realistically is a 1-year rate for the device at half price. I think we're adding about 3,000 Wi-Fi's to be able to, as the students and as we proceed through the year, distance learning, to be able to have some access to the students that don't have access to the internet. And this is a very good price. Really, it's half price for 1 year. And at the end of the 1 year, then again, we'll see where we stand. And either we can renew it for 1 more year, but that's at full price, or we begin to bid out to get a better price. But I think year one, very good price. About $270 $270,000 for 3,000. And that's at half price.
Who's the service?
So moved.
Do you remember?
Sprint or Verizon?
T-Mobile, I think. It's T-Mobile, yes, sir.
I think they just partnered with Sprint.
Yes. This is throughout the state. And the reason it's on a very fast track is what happens is the board approves it today, send it out today. They'll send us a purchase order tomorrow. We'll cut a check and then they'll put our order in. I mean, most likely it's going to take a couple of months to get it here, but I think at that price for 1 year, a really good bargain for the school district.
Lisa?
Yes. Yes, so moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none opposed, motion passes. At this time, we will respectfully request everyone remain on hold as the board adjourns into closed session for agenda item 6.1, is that correct?
6A1, yes.
6A1. 6A1. We'll be back shortly.
And just keynote the time.
Time is now 12:29 p.m.
There's some food there. Ready?
We're on. All right, so agenda item 7, reconvening from closed session. The time is now 12:47 p.m. and the board will take appropriate action on items if necessary as discussed in closed session.
And no action is necessary.
No action is necessitated. So agenda item 7, it's for adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion to second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 All opposed, none opposed, motion carries. Special meeting is adjourned at 12:47 PM. Thank you very much for that.